All right, boom. We are back. We are back right now. I had a little bit of a hiccup right now where it was on the wrong camera, but we are back. Welcome to Corbellic Studios. We're about to do some live painting right now, but we're also about to talk about how you can get top rated badge, how you can maintain your top rated, and what it means for your store, why is it important, and everything like that for you. So we're just going to be breaking that down. We're also going to be talking about some other subjects to just make sure that you're maintained at the top level. So let me get the community back in here because I had it on a different camera. And for some reason, as soon as you started off with the stream on a different camera, you can't edit it and go back in there where it can change it up, which is kind of crazy. I know it should give you that option. So let me just go back in here, make sure that we have our chat up, make sure that we get everybody back in here, and then we'll be good to go, rocking and rolling. Let's go back here. Boom. There we go. All right. We are back rocking and rolling. Hey Brenda. Hey Sally. What up, Jim? All right, we are back. Just getting my pop out here. All right, so we're ready to go. We're gonna be ready to paint right now. Just had to get everything lined up, make sure that the camera was set up straight. All right, cool. No problems whatsoever. Right? Right. Or actually, you know what? I think it'd be cool this way. That's fine. Make sure that we're good. All right. Everybody good? We're live. You ready? All right. I just wanted to make sure that we still get people to come back in here. All right, let's get our painting. The first one that we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing an abstract dog because everybody has pets. Everybody has pets. Everybody has. Are you going to be working on the palette insert or no? Yeah, I'm going to work on it, but I'm not going to make any changes until next week. Since tomorrow is going to be the last stream of the week, I'll just do that for tomorrow. So let me go in here. Yeah, so the first painting that we're going to do is going to be a doggy. And then it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be an abstract doggy. We're going to get straight into it. I'm just waiting for a couple more people to show back up, and then we can rock and roll. All right, we are live. We are live. Leave a like on the video if you haven't already, so that way YouTube knows that we're rocking and rolling, that we are being consistent, that we're showing up, because that's what it's all about, right? Just being consistent, showing up. All right, there you go. Bless Studio found you. We're back. And also make sure that you also put in the notifications. Like, even though you subscribe to the channel, it really helps if you put on there that you put all notifications so you could get the bell on there. So just go to where it has subscribe or whatever, and then it has the bell next to it. Make sure you just click on the bell for all notifications. So that way you always get the notifications when I'm going live, when I have a new video, or even if we had like a where we had to change the camera angle up today and then I had to do another live, you could just get the notifications. But I also updated it on both the communities, so that way it's also in the calendar as well. I try to do that in the morning as well too, even before the live, as I update it in the calendar so everybody can see it there, and I also post it on the top pin, and that way you can grab it from there if you don't have all notifications on. So but it really helps, that way you can have it on both sides. All right, good morning, good morning. All right, we're ready to go. Let's get this thing going, right? Jim says that he's waiting on his canvas orders. I guess he's already knocked out those 40 16 by 20s, and that's a good thing, because I'm telling you, when I'm waiting on canvases, it's like, for me in my mind, it's kind of like that's our money line. It's like I need the canvases to come in. That's our money line right there of everything that we do. So it's like, oh, I need that to come in. I need that to come in more than anything. I'm not worried about the paint. We can always get the paint. I can always make the paint stretch. I can always do whatever with the paint. The paint is whatever. I can always be creative with that. But I need the money to come in, which is the canvases. I need the product where I can actually show, when I could do the listings on. So those are the things that you want to be resourceful on. You want to make sure that you're being on top and you're doing a budget. Okay. You want to make sure that you're on top of your inventory. It's so important. Look, I was thinking about that this morning. What one of the lessons that I want to talk about is that make sure that you pay yourself, even if it's $20, $100, whatever. You pay yourself, you put it to the side. Then after that, you have to put any money that you make from it and you have to invest back into the business. You have to invest it back into the business, and then you're going to start seeing the money come to you. But if you don't do that, what's going to happen is the money is going to leak away from you because your supplies are going to get dry and you're going to have a problem with consistency. And then once the products start getting dry, also psychologically, you're not going to be creating as well because you're going to be thinking of scarcity. And when you think of scarcity mindset, when you're creating, you don't create that well, and you're trying to make everything Mona Lisa's because you only have so many items. You're thinking of scarcity. Trust me. So don't do it. It's always better to have more products on standby, more inventory, so that way you know that you could create more different references. You know that you could be more free on what you're doing because you're like, I got so many different canvases to go through. I'm just going to keep painting and painting and painting, and I'm going to keep doing whatever I want to do because it doesn't matter. You're really going to believe in yourself that it doesn't matter the more inventory that you have. All right, we are doing God's work for sure. I love my paper ready to do some more. I love paper art as well. I mean, I love doing paper art, but when it comes to the canvases, you gotta have that canvas ready. Should we be looking at a ratio of sizes of canvases in our store for the reorder consideration? No, I mean, just make sure that you have a eventually you're gonna decide that yourself on either what your budget is, your money budget, or what your storage is. Also based on what you've done before. I mean, I've always tried to have a mixture. I try to have a mixture between 14 by 11s and 12 by 16s. I try to go in between those where I try to even those out and have a lot of those. But then there's times too where I have a lot of 16 by 20s. It's just one of those things. And then how you want to fluctuate it. But I would say starting off for most artists, don't stress yourself over 16 by 20s because if you don't have the customer base there yet for the 16 by 20, you're gonna break yourself. You're gonna lose money if you focus on 16 by 20s and you don't have the infrastructure for that yet, or you don't have the clientele for that yet, or you don't really even know how to approach it. What type of art. You're gonna break yourself with it because you got to pay for the boxing, and then the shipping is a little bit more too. So you got to make sure that you have the clientele, and you got to make sure that you really have a full understanding of the art that you're producing and what actually sells. Once you start having a more understanding of the data point and what sells and what type of art does well, then you could go with the 16 by 20s because you have the clientele there for it. But if you don't and you're just throwing stuff on a 16 by 20, you're going to lose money. All right, let's see what else that we have here that's in the chats right now. I guess it just depends on how fast you use them up and how long it takes to get more. Yeah, let's see here. Taurus says, hi, I made it. I had to go to the store. They are predicting a winter storm here over the weekend. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of crazy winter storms and stuff like that is like happening. And I hope you guys got to stay safe out there wherever you're at in the country. I heard this story yesterday and I was like, what? That's here? It was like in Michigan or something where they had these cars that were frozen on the highway, and then they were telling like drivers either to stay in your car if some people are still in it, or don't get out the car. And I'm thinking like, man, it's kind of like that movie. There was this old Jake Gyllenhaal movie where it was like the day after tomorrow or something, where it was like all of a sudden this ice breeze came by and it was just like freezing everything. It was like that. I was like, what's going on here? One day you're telling me there's global warming. Next minute you're telling me there's global cooling. Make up your mind. I think they couldn't make up their mind, so then they just decided, oh well, there's global change, just climate change. That's what it is. I remember growing up in the 80s, right? It was like It was cooling. Then a decade later, it's warming. Then a decade later, it's cooling. Which one is it? I am in the South. This is unnatural here. Yeah, exactly. Like, I have a studio in Tampa, and a lot of my people are like, it's unnatural. Like, it's weird. Like the weather there is in the 30s. That's crazy. I've never been there where the weather was in the 30s. I don't know. That would trip me out. So I guess I'm blessed like to be in LA right now. Today it's a foggy day here. Let's see here. I like the stream. I appreciate it. Yeah, just leave the likes, leave the likes. But be safe out there, everybody. Be warm, be safe. Get that inventory. That's what makes it so cool about what we do is that I have a system in place where I show people that you don't even have to leave the house to do this. You can make the money at home. You don't have to leave the house. Everybody else who's in the eBay business and they're like top resellers, they got to go out. They got to go outside the thrift stores. They got to wait in line before the thrift store opens up. They got to try to go to garage sales all the time. They got to wait for electronics. They got to wait for clothing. A lot of resellers on eBay who are the top resellers, they buy clothing and they buy them in bulk. They got to do a lot of hard grind. And not only that, once they get it, they have to do so much work on when they take their pictures, and they have to do a lot of work on how they list the item specifics. I'm telling you, like, you guys don't understand how golden it is of what we have here, this opportunity that you have, and how easy it is for us to make higher profit margins and for us to make the money compared to everybody else. Everybody else is like, they go through a lot of grind and they go through a lot of pain and they're struggling. So when you put that in your mindset, it's easier for you to succeed in this. Oh man, you guys got to stay warm. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Ooh wee. All right, let's get straight into this to the doggy. So what I'm going to do on the doggy, because this is going to be more of an abstracty, right? And it's like our first painting, so I really want to just get loosened up. I want to get warmed up. I'm going to go straight into him with some oil pastel, because I just want to have the layers there, and I don't know what I'm doing, so I just want to build up. Because people see pet owners, they see the same type of images when it comes to dogs, right? Like they've seen it. It's kind of like yesterday, if you missed yesterday's stream where we were talking about the polar bear that's all pretty with the guy spent 100 hours doing the individual hairs on the polar bear and everything was perfect on it. Like, you know how many people seen art like that? Like, people seen it. So I try to always think of doing art that people might not have seen before. Like, I don't want to do stuff that's too pretty, because everybody's seen the pretty stuff. Everybody's seen you try to do a perfect image of whatever the thing is that you're doing. Everybody's already seen that before. Or they could just do a printout of it. Like, usually that's the safe artist. I don't want to be judged. Let me do the pretty stuff real quick so everybody can say I'm a great artist and I spent 100 hours on it. Instead of being like, I want to do something different that maybe you haven't seen in a different format, but you know it's the dog. People gravitate towards that because it's different. And then it's like, well, it's different, but at least that's art because it's different. So I'm just doing this as a background right now. You see, like, boom, and then I'm done with that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with our cheap brush, which is this brush that I get from the dollar store, and it's kind of wet, right? And then I'm going to just go in here with a watercolor base underneath. So I have a little bit of turquoise here, and then I'll wash it. Now look, you see how I'm just randomly doing that? I'm not even thinking about it, but it's already beautiful. It's a great thing we got going on right now. Look at this. Turquoise. Boom. Look at this. Look how I'm hitting this off. I do this a lot. I do this a lot, especially when it comes to paper art. I'll bang it off just like this, and people will gravitate towards it because it's different, and it's all the happy mistakes that's going to happen because we're just building the layers up. Of course, after this, I'm going to dry it a little bit, and then I'm going to go in with a little bit of the acrylic, and we can see like a little bit touch it up a little bit more. But we don't have to if we don't want to, because it's also like our first painting or whatever, and we're just getting on with the day. But you could just see how, look at this. You can see how it's so unpredictable is what I'm saying. I guess that's the biggest thing of what I say in a lot of my artwork is like when I talk about what's already inside of us, their creativity and all of that stuff, and we're using the proportions from the projector. What I'm saying is be spontaneous, be unpredictable in what the art is, and then people consider that that's art because at least it's spontaneous. At least it's not predictable. That's what I mean to say this whole time. This to really sharpen it up is what I'm saying about everything. It's like when I see other artists and they're trying to be like spend 100 hours making something so perfect and beautiful and they don't want to get criticized. There's no there, it's so predictable, you know. You have to be unpredictable, and that's what's authentic, and that's what's inside of you like a child, and then that's what makes people gravitate towards it because they're like, at least it's unpredictable. At least I haven't seen it before. Blues, the color blues are always top sellers, especially if you just know how to use it. Blues are always top sellers. Like Picasso says, if he runs out of red, he uses blue. Let's see here. Torres says, I have sold two pet portraits, one of a bloodhound and the other a chihuahua. Oh, I bet those were fun. I bet that chihuahua was fun to paint. I bet that was a cool one. I just threw our timer on right now. I didn't let's see here. Jim says I didn't realize that you were from Kentucky. Discerning Light, hello again. Hello, happy to have you here. Natalie says I get to watch you for a few minutes. Yeah, I'm glad that you're here. Happy that you're here. Sharon says, by the way, hello everyone. I just got back from the airport. That's awesome. Hope that you had a good, safe travels. I can't stand traveling anymore. It's like in my day, I just remember traveling wasn't so much of a headache now. Now I think of traveling like a Greyhound, you know, like that's how flying is now. It's just such a headache. It's like too many cheap character type people. The stress of it is like flying all day. It's just I can't stand it. I think it's so outdated. And then I get annoyed when I look at like how traveling used to be like in the 60s and 50s. And there was more space, there was more like luxury. People showed up to the airport wearing suits and ties. And nowadays I can't stand it. And I mean, yeah. I remember when I was like even 20 some years ago, 25 years ago when I used to travel, I mean, it was just even different than what it is now. There was more leg space, there was more, it was nicer. Now it's just a pain. Let me tell you. Yeah, heat gun is better than the air than the hair dryer for sure. And you could get it very cheap. You could get the same one, the Wagner one, on Amazon. Is what we checked out yesterday. So now what we're just going to do is go in here real quick, and I'm just going to add some touches, some touch up, right? Just some quick touch up. Let's see here. Just a quick touch up. Like I said, we're going to be spontaneous, right? It's all about just being spontaneous. Spontaneous with strong brushstrokes. We're not doubling back. We're not going backwards. That's pretty much it. Now what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to go in here and clean it up with the black. No, no, not me. I'm not saying we're in the 50s and 60s. I'm saying where I used to look back on like how they have magazines and they have like old they have old videos and old pictures from the 50s and 60s. But what I'm saying is I remember even just traveling uh 20, 25, 30 years ago. Traveling was so much different than it is now. It was better than what it is now. It was more like people still had to, carry themselves well. Yeah, exactly. When I think of like the 50s and 60s was Pan Am, and like you can see the images of what they had, where it's like the original Delta, they had high ceilings, they had where there was a lot of leg room. Remember when people used to smoke all the times in the cabin? I mean, that would suck, but everything else, it was just like there was a certain, now it's just like flying to me now is like um what's that ghetto cruise line, what is it called, it's like Carnival Cruises, it's like Carnival. When I think of flying, that's what I think of now. It's like Greyhound of the skies. And I always go Delta, but still it's just a pain. I think it's so outdated. Like where's my flying car at already? So I don't have to deal with these humans. All right, let's see here. And you see how quick I'm going about it with the black right here? It's just like we're just adding layers and it doesn't matter. It's all about the strength and about just being spontaneous. Now what I'm going to do, we're almost done, is I'm going to just add some, like a little bit of a light color on top. Let's see here. I did travel in the 60s, and you are absolutely right. Exactly. My dad worked for TWA, and I used to fly all the time in the 70s. I always had to wear a suit. That's the thing. You always had to wear a suit when you went to the airport. I mean, I'm old enough to remember that, where it's like when we traveled, dress nice, be presentable. Like that was just the thing. You like wear a suit, be presentable, carry yourself like you've been somewhere before. Now I feel like cattle when I fly. It's so outdated how they do it. I mean, come on. You mean to tell me like I even feel that way about driving sometimes, like driving a car. Like I'm like, this is so outdated. You mean to tell me we don't have technology past this at this point? Like, what are we still doing driving? I feel like it's like I'm in a horse, like a carriage or something. It's how outdated it is. So silly. My dad was a pilot for TWA for 30 years, for over 30 years. Wow. Small world. All right. And that's that for our that is that for our doggy. Yeah, exactly, Brenda. People travel now. See, I wasn't going to say anything. I was close to saying it, but yeah, people travel now with pajamas on. They got they got shower caps on their head. They got slippers on. Like I just I can't. I can't. It's ghetto as hell. Like we have to fix the infrastructure of flying and just the whole premise on that. Look at this. There's our doggy. Look how quick that we did this, right? So you can see how I did the under layer. The first thing that I did was go in here with the oil pastel. Then I did a wash, which is just like a watercolor, right? And then I just went in here real quick with the base color, and that's it. I didn't think too much of it. I pretty much did this blindfold. I wasn't even looking at it, right? When we were doing this, and you could just see it's spontaneous. It's someone is going to say it looks just like their dog. Someone is always going to find the beauty and that they're going to say it looks like their dog, their cat, whatever. And then they're going to love it because they're going to be like, at least it's spontaneous. It's different than all the other people who, let me draw the detailed lavender of everybody's seen that already. All right, let's put that to the side. Let's put up another 14 by 11. Let's see what the next painting is going to be. And then there used to be a point in time. There used to be a point in time in the country. Do you remember where you would fly and it would be like maybe there were certain times that the airplane was like empty or the airport was kind of empty, and it was like there were certain times throughout the year. Now every single time that you fly, the airport is full and the plane is full. The airport is full, the plane is full every single time. Every single, I'm like, I mean, there's not, you can't beat it nowadays. And it's like, how is this possible? All right. Now we're going to work on some beautiful flowers because the flowers always do well. Everybody always wants flowers, right? Everybody wants to put beautiful flowers up into their home. And the reason how I like to do my flowers with like different layers and how I go about it, because it's just like the same thing of what we said on the last one. It's about being spontaneous. It's about being unpredictable. That last painting took us 11 minutes, maybe less than. See, I like to play a game in my head, right? Where so that like that last painting took 10 minutes. And normally, like, like I said, if I'm here and if I'm just doing this alone, I'm in my own world, I'm listening to either a podcast or inspirational kind of thing about business or something like that, then I'm able to just knock them out and be in my own world. But how I play a game in my mind, I'm saying to myself, like, the worst thing that can happen is that this painting sells for $5, $3 or whatever, right? But then at the end of the day, like that just means that after everything and shipping, I'm still going to make, what is that? I'm still going to be making about $13. All right. That's the worst that could happen. I'll still make $13, $15. That's the word. That's the stuff. That's the stuff that I put in my mind. I always put in my mind, the positivity and just letting it happen. So that's how the sales. I'm not coming from a point of desperation, but I always put in my mind too. All right, it's easier for me to work that way, where it's like, what's the worst that can happen of me creating fast, 10, 15, or 10, 12 minutes. The worst that can happen is, all right, fine. My profit point is $15. So if my profit point is $15 for 10 minutes, and I say to myself that I could do, 5 of them in an hour, I mean, you're still making more than most people in corporate America. And that's at the, if the worst. That's the worst. That's the worst case scenario. But it always runs higher because they're combined orders, and also people buy from your buy it now store. My elite members know what I'm talking about. All right, Natalie, I'll check you out later. Thanks for coming. We'll have the rerun up. Have a blessed day. Spirit Airlines, yeah, exactly. Do they still have that? Do they still have Spirit Airlines? You couldn't pay me to get on something like that. Hey, what up, Basil? So start doing that with your business as well. And I promise you, I promise you that you'll make more money and you'll make more art. Really sit down with yourself. Sit down with yourself and you say, what's the worst that can happen with this painting? Or like, what's the worst kind of, if I just push this out, what's the worst profit point that it would be? Okay, the painting would sell for $2 to $3. Okay. And then with shipping, what would be the worst thing that would happen from that? Think of it that way. That's how I think about it. And that's what keeps me being able to show up to produce without thinking of it, without counting it, just work my time. Because I know as long as I show up, I'm able, like, all right, even if I have a bad day and everybody in America, they're just totally broke, right? They don't have no money to buy the artwork and it's just resellers or whatever the situation would be. Whatever, if I'm having a bad day, this is the worst thing that can happen on today. I put that in my mind. That's the secret of how I work fast, is I do that to myself as I go, okay, this is the worst case scenario, Corbellic. Even if nothing works, even if you don't have somebody who wants to buy one of your buy it nows, or they're not going to come back to your store, you're just phoning it in. Your work is just not cutting it. This is the worst case scenario. Always put that in your mind. I know it's backwards compared to everything else that I say, because I'm always talking about thinking of the half of like half glass full situation. But in order for you to be in a half glass full situation, you have to think of what's the worst that can happen. Like, will death come for me? No, death won't come for you. What's the okay? Then what situation would happen if I just show up? That would happen. Okay, then fine. Then I could just go off of that and work the time. Let me do it fast then. Or you can also put it into your mind to be like, I'll think of every day to be like, okay, what if I'll work all of these paintings like in my mind. In my mind sometimes I'll think like, okay, I'll work all of these paintings like all of them are going to sell for 99 cents. Now what? If you put it in your mind, there were situations, right? I would start my bids off and I'm going to be like, I'm going to start all of them off at $100. I'm going to start all of them at $50. What happens after a while is you want to paint all of those to be Mona Lisas because you think that they have to be special in order for people to actually want to pay it, or at least start their bid there. So what happens is you're going to not do the time that you're not going to rush through it. You're not going to go through the time fast, because you're going to be like, eventually, well, I got to make these with good quality. I got to do the polar bear hair because all of these are starting off at $100. So they got to be great Mona Lisas. And then what happens is you're not actually creating, with time you're creating Mona Lisas, and it stresses you out. I've been there before. I'm telling you, I've been in all situations when it comes to selling on eBay. And the best situation for me to create and have the most lottery tickets is that I put in my mind that all of them are going to sell for 99 cents. Okay, if I say that and that's the worst case scenario, then what am I going to do to control that? What I'm going to do to control it is show up to work, and I'm going to create these fast because all of them are selling for 99 cents. But I mean, that doesn't happen though. As long as you're being consistent and you're showing up and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're showing up every single day, or at least that you have the listings showing up every single day. You know, when I'm talking about people showing up every single day, I'm not saying that every single day you got to be a slave and you got to do this. I'm saying that you grind it enough to where every single day you have listings scheduled going out. So I always say to myself, all right, what's the worst case scenario that's going to happen? The worst case scenario is that this painting right here with the flower, it's going to sell for 99 cents. All right, so how am I going to psychologically approach this painting right now? I'm going to approach this painting right now that is going to sell for 99 cents. And I'm not too attached to being here. I'm already thinking about the next painting. Like if you put yourself in that mindset, it's easier for you to paint faster and get on to the next painting. You're creating more lottery tickets for yourself. Let me know in the comments if this makes sense or if you want me to talk more about it. Well, that's so true. So that's how I think of it. I think in both case scenarios, Tulio. Tulio says, instead of thinking what instead worst thing that can happen, I think what's the best that may eventually happen. So that way I keep working because I know some of these is going to take off. Exactly. That's the point. So how I think of it is I mean me psychologically is like what's instead of me not wanting to work, what like, or I'm going through some type of pain, I'm like, dude, like, what's the worst that can happen? Or what's your budget that will be the worst? And for me, when I say it that way, everything else is icing on the cake. It's kind of like free overtime. Because yes, I already know that it's going to sell higher. I already know that it's going to do better. But if I put that in my mind, then it's also like it's just extra because in my mind I'm already comfortable. You have to be comfortable with whatever happens. That's how you really manifest. You have to be comfortable and already accepting the fact of you don't need it, you don't want it, you already have it. You already are content in your emotions and where you're at in your life. But when you're desperate, you don't get the things that you want. I always say this analogy too. It's like a young man wanting a relationship with a girl. He calls her all the time. He bothers her. When you really want something, you're so you can the universe can smell it on you, the desperation. But when you psychologically accept that it doesn't matter and you've already accepted that where it's going to be at or wherever it lays and you're comfortable. I'm comfortable with this painting selling for 99 cents because we're only working it for 10 minutes. As long as I accept that and I'm comfortable with if that's the worst case scenario, then I'm already bringing in the half glass full to me. I'm already bringing in higher frequency where this is going to sell for more. And when it does, that's icing on the cake because really I wasn't expecting anything anyways besides 99 cents. I hope that makes sense is what I'm saying. I hope that makes sense. Like I put myself in a mindset where when it does happen, because it's going to happen, I'm already fine with that. And that's icing on the cake for me because I've already made peace with the idea that it's not going to sell, but for 99 cents. My pride that way, whatever the case scenario happens that I can't control, right? Because we can't control these, we can't control the market. We can't control the outcome. So whatever the outcome happens, I'm not going to say to myself, "Oh, I got to do better. I got to do a better art piece next time." I'm not going to try to rationalize irrational because I already made peace with it when I created it. I created it fast and I made peace with whatever price point it sells. I'm not worried about that. Anything else past that is icing on the cake. It's going to get to a point with you guys after a year where I want you to create art and I don't even look at the money no more because I already paid myself a salary weekly and the salary is always going to stay the same. You're going to make more money once you get to a point that you don't even look at the profits no more. You don't even look at the money no more. I don't like, so sometimes some people go, this painting sold for that, this painting sold for that. And then I always throw them off. I go, I don't even look at what sells no more. I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know what sells no more because I don't look at that stuff. Hey Zenjin, I appreciate that super chat. Thank you. Let me see if I can leave a like or leave a heart on there. It doesn't have a heart on the side of it where I can leave a heart for you. Let's see here. Let's celebrate that. Let's celebrate their 5th super. I appreciate you. Let's see here. You can't think bad. It's not bad or good, Tulio, is what I'm saying. What I'm saying, The worst, see, that's the thing about like what is it? Um whose law was it? It's not that something bad will happen. Is that you have to be comfortable with the idea that it can happen. So that way you can accept either way. You have to accept it so that way the good stuff happens, is what I'm saying. You have to be comfortable either way. It's not that you're expecting bad things to happen, but at the same point, we're not going to lie to ourselves and manifest $1 million because we expect $1 million. Because then what happens if you don't get the $1 million? You weren't prepared for that because you were expecting it. And then when you don't get it, you're going to be psyched out in your mind. You have to be comfortable and realistic of whatever happens, wherever it's going to lay. And just say to yourself, hey, instead of, I guess what the thing I could say then, and instead of saying what's the worst that can happen, because there's always something of the worst that can happen. You can say to yourself, what is the most realistic probability of something that can happen realistically? And then set your barrier there. So then once you have your barrier there, you're comfortable with anything that's over it. That's just icing on the cake. And it's automatically going to happen. It doesn't matter either way. You're showing up to work instead of expecting anything. That's what they teach in like how to really like manifest things for yourself, is that you have to be comfortable with whatever. It's nonchalant of whatever happens because you already put the success in your mind. You're already accepted whatever the fate is of that's going to happen. It's not that we're expecting it. It's Murphy's law. Thank you. Murphy's law is that not that something bad will happen. You have to be prepared. You have to be prepared psychologically. You have to be prepared for the notion that something can happen. And then when it does, you're not going to come back and say, well, it's not working for me. You're not going to come up with all these excuses. You already made peace with it. And then that way you can keep working. You know, when Thomas Edison created the light bulb, he's already made peace with it. He didn't go, oh, it's not working, so I have to give up. He's already made peace of like, what's the worst that's going to happen by me creating a 1,000 different designs? The worst thing that's going to happen for him when he made that, he says, is that he's just going to learn more about how to create the best design. Anything after that is just the icing on the cake. It's not that we're expecting the worst to happen, for sure. Let's see here. Zen says, yep, $20,000 extra on the side sounds great to me. All right, let's see. Now we're catching up. I feel great and maintain my energy from my first sale. My Porsche's next. Exactly. There you go. Murphy's Law. Yep. Discerning light. Thank you. Slug says, Porsche, what model? Tulio says, when I make peace with getting the worst case scenario, guess what's going on? Then the worst case scenario would happen. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I definitely hear what you're saying. I guess I'm just saying that you have to be content either way, because life's not fair. And when it doesn't turn out to be fair, you also have to bring back that energy of, well, tomorrow's a better day. The next painting's a better painting. I've already made peace with it. I can't control that. That would be too much energy. But I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying that these are one of the things that helps me become successful, is that I think of the most realistic outcomes, and then I set that as a baseline, and then I could go from there. It helps me work harder. Or I could just say, don't have expectations. Do have expectations, but don't have expectations. Or another thing of what of how they teach, right, is how to have loose and higher frequency, right? And these are one of the things that I've talked about as well. Exactly. You'll be right either way. You will be right either way. And whatever you put your mindset in, you'll be right either way. You have to be comfortable. So one of the things that I've learned from courses. Oh, here, let me sign this and show this to you. We did this. That one took a little bit longer, huh? That time flew by. There's our flower right there. Flowers are always fun. They're always beautiful. Um, what they teach is this. Okay, say that you want Zen, you want the Porsche, you want the $20,000 extra, you want the sales. Now, put in your mind that you're already in the car. Put in your mind, close your eyes and put your mind that you already have these $20,000 sales, that you already have these numbers, right? You already have the things that you want, but really zero in on it. Put your attention towards the things that you do want. And then, however that feeling is, it's not so much about the materialistic and the things that are those, because those will fade after a while. You already have those, and then those will get boring. Those will fade. Put yourself in the mindset of how do you feel, or what's your emotion? How does your family feel? What's going on in the situation? Are they hugging you? Are they proud of you? Um, then, whatever those emotions are, give yourself permission to feel like that right now. That's how you manifest it. That's how you manifest it. Give yourself permission to feel whatever feelings that you're waiting for. Oh, I'm waiting for that day. Because then, as long as you're constantly waiting for some day, you're always waiting instead of giving yourself permission to feel whatever it is now. Like, you could be dead broke right now. You could be sleeping under a bridge, but you can still give yourself permission to feel in your mind whatever this feeling is that you're waiting for, not the material part of whatever you're going to be feeling. And then once you feel that, that's how you're going to gravitate towards that, but also be comfortable of what you have today and have a baseline of where you're at. So that way you could just go, you're comfortable either way. You're being nonchalant with the energy. You could give yourself permission to feel like you have that Porsche today. You could give yourself permission that you sold 40 paintings today and whatever that feeling is going to be. I've already given myself permission for that. So either if the paintings sell at 99 cents, or they sell for $3, or they sell for $5, whatever, it doesn't matter, because I've already given myself permission that each of these paintings, I've already given myself emotional permission that they sold for $1,000. So either way, check this out. When the Porsche does come, and then when the sales finally do come from the heavy paintings or whatever, right? I need you to be in a frequency where you're like, I've already been here before, and you're not going to trip off of it. You're not going to be like, oh, I wasn't expecting it, because you were expecting it. Okay, another study they did, when they talk to boxers, or when they talk to top athletes who win Super Bowls, they always ask them, how did you know that you were going to do this? How did you know that? And you know what they always say? They said, I've already accepted it before the fight. I've already knew that I was going to win, and anything after that was the bonus. I'm telling you, this comes from deep mindset stuff. This comes from like stuff that people pay thousands of dollars for. Exactly. Thank you for saying that, 717, best. Waiting is the energy of lack. And you're going to always be lacking as long as you're waiting for some day to happen. You're going to be waiting for some moment to happen, because the thing is, in your whole life, you're always going to be waiting for that moment. Then, instead of giving yourself permission that you feel it now, regardless of what happens, is what I'm saying. Regardless of what happens to whatever the paintings or where they sell at, you have to be at peace of wherever it is, because you can't control that. You can't control it. You could say, you could do woo woo stuff all day long, and I'm projecting $1 million. I'm projecting 1 million. It's going to happen for me. You can do that all day long, but life ain't fair, and that doesn't happen. But you also have to be at peace that it's already happened for you, and then it eventually will. Your frequency will hit that. You just have to be at peace with it. Hope I articulated that right. Oh, that's cool. Corbellic, there's a YouTuber named Nero Knowledge, and he talks about what you just talked about. Sunflower artist said that. That's cool. What else does he say? Sunflower artist. That's cool. See? See. I know what I'm talking about here. That's awesome. Yeah, these are things that I've learned throughout the years, but I've also taken courses. I've taken mindset courses, and a lot of different books, and but just living in life in general. These are things that people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for. And I'm giving you guys the gems for free. You don't even know. All right, this next one we're gonna do is buffalo. Because why not? Buffaloes do great. Like I said, I could do buffaloes all day long if you let me. Yeah. So it's not that we are never be expecting low sales, never be expecting bad things to happen. You have to be content that if they do happen, you're already a millionaire. And that's how you stay in your mind. You already put the winning championship inside your mind. It's already there. But then also when it comes, I want you to be conditioned in an energy where you're not going to trip off of it. You need to be nonchalant about it. Because you need to be nonchalant about it, because when it finally does happen, like, remember, I always say to you that we need to be a time traveler. So when it does happen, you get your Porsche. When it does happen, you get your $100,000. When it does happen, I need you to be nonchalant about it, because you already put it in your mind, and you already gave yourself permission to have the feelings and to know that it was going to happen before it happened. So when it does happen, you're like, of course I got the Porsche. Like, duh, I already knew it. Like, I'm not happy and tripping off of it like I didn't know that I wasn't going to get it. I sold 4 buffaloes yesterday. That is cool. Yeah, buffaloes go, man. That's what Jim just said. He said he sold 4 buffaloes yesterday. They go. I love doing buffaloes. Maybe that's why I love doing buffaloes, because I know they sell. Let's see here. 717 Best says, I know this as the law of assumption, from Neville Goddard. I need to look into that then. Let me see that. The law of assumption. Sunflower Artist says he talks about that your emotions and feelings create manifestation. He also said that emotions equal money. So true. That's why it's like, I want you to be nonchalant and cool either way. You just have to be cool, nonchalant either way, because that's what controls your reality. But I'm not gonna tell myself every, because if I do, I've been there before. I've been there before. If I tell myself that every painting that I do is going to sell for $100, $200, or $1 million, it's psychologically, but also creating wise, is going to eat up at you, because then you're going to just subconsciously, you don't even realize, you're going to start doing stuff where you're going to feel like you need this painting to sell for that, or you need to have certain qualities in it to sell for that. I've done it so many times, so I know I've done it so many times. If you say that to yourself, well, I know this painting is going to sell for $100 on my auction. If I say that to myself, then I'm going to start doing things inside the painting psychologically without me knowing in my subconscious, where I'm going to start doing like I'm going to start doing things where I need to be like $100. I'm going to start doing certain details in it. I'm going to start doing like certain gallery stuff in it. And I could lie to myself and say, "Oh, I'm not. I don't care. Like I'm just going with the process," but I'm not. I'm doing certain things because I'm telling myself I just have to be comfortable either way and nonchalant, control my emotions, and be fine with wherever it lays. Because what do we always talk about here? The most important part is just showing up. You can't control anything else besides showing up and controlling your emotions and giving yourself permission that you already have the Porsche. Polar bear hairs, exactly. You just read my mind, discerning light. Leave me some likes on this video if I'm dropping some gems for you. Leave me some likes on the video. Or let me know in the comments if I'm just running my mouth and ranting like always. And that's fine too. I'll accept it. Challenge accepted. I'm going to try to go a little bit different on this buffalo. Just a little bit. Give him a little bit of abstractions. All right, look, we're done drawing him off right there. I'm going to go in first with the color. I'm just going to kind of go fast on it. Super gems you're dropping, Anito said. I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm telling you, I swear people pay courses on like $10,000 for this type of stuff. What people don't know, and I always try to tell you, is that you're most successful like business people online or in real life or you know billionaires. They all have coaching. They all pay a lot of money for coaching, and they have mentors. You have to get on someone's coaching, and it's a mindset. But also, it's a lot of times too is it's a strong placebo for sure because when you're paying $100,000 for a coach or something, then you're naturally going to believe you have to because you already spent the money for it. That's why it's also important too within the mindset of like you only respect things that you pay for. If you don't pay for it, then psychologically you're not going to respect it. You're not going to transition or put the work in. Just like someone who wants if there's coaching when I mean you just ask a fitness coach, ask them, who's the worst client, what's the best client? The best clients are the ones who pay because they're paying for the program. The ones who are the worst are the ones who don't pay because you'll give them the same breakdown, but they're not going to apply it. And it's also a mindset of who's going to apply it. Good morning, Jada Hunter. Today's live stream, we're going to be talking about how to get top rated seller, how to maintain top rated seller. Why is it important? Now, if you've been in the community and you've been selling then you should get a top rated seller. As long as you've been doing everything right, you should get it within 3 months. Because how it starts off, eBay doesn't know if you're a degenerate. They don't know if you're a scammer. They don't know anything about you. And they need to make sure that you're delivering. So your first month is like a trial period because they have to build up the account for you where you have to go through the whole period cycle of, okay, they're going to test you out. They're going to test you out with some sales. Okay, fine, you got some sales. They're going to test you out how you communicate with them. Okay, testing you out how you communicated with them. And then they're going to see, okay, this person printed out the label on time. Okay, you printed the label out on time because you have to print the label out. All these metrics of what I'm talking about right now are important when it comes to top rated seller. They're all recorded for your defects. So you shipped it, you printed it out on time. Now we have to see, when does the carrier scan it? One of the things that I stress inside the community is that you have to build up a great relationship with your carrier. I don't care what you got to do. I don't care if you got to go to Costco or go to your grocery store and get them some cookies, get them something prepackaged, get them some bottled water, I don't care. Be nice to them because they're an important part of your business. They're the ones who are going to determine if you have a successful eBay business or not. And they're going to be the ones that determine how often people are going to come to your store, because eBay is just an algorithm, right? eBay doesn't have any, they don't have any live people checking your store to see that you're not a degenerate. They only know when the carrier scans your box, scans your label. So you print it out on time. They scan it the next day. You don't have to rush yourself. Like, as soon as you scan it, you don't have to have them where they pick it up the same day. eBay is realistic. eBay knows like it takes a while for the carrier to come. So that's why we have like our handling time on there that we have set up in the community, because it's realistic, but it also gives you a top listing rank compared to other people. And they scan it the next day and they scan it as a pickup. So eBay also has this option on there where you can do a bulk pickup or a bulk scan. And I used to do stuff like that, but it doesn't help, because only thing that it shows is that the bulk scan was picked up. It's no different than having the pickup request form. Don't let a carrier say to you that they can't scan all your boxes or whatever. They'll just scan the pickup request form, or, oh, that's good enough, because the pickup request form just shows that you had a pickup request. It doesn't. You have to tell the carrier. I tell the carrier, that scan form, it doesn't show for each one of those labels. And this is the thing, like, don't have them lie to you either that we don't pay their salary. We pay taxes. They are part of the US government. We pay for them. We pay for them twice, because Pitney Bowles is a partner with eBay, but also our tax money. And they have to scan the boxes. That's part of their job. It's just that a lot of times some of the postal people, they're kind of like people who work at the DMV. They're all unionized, so you know what I'm talking about. Some I'm not saying all, but some unions are pretty lazy. Okay, they feel like their job is protected and they have job security because they're unionized. So their attitude is kind of similar to, like, if you go to a DMV, some of them, and they think that they don't have to, or they just want to keep their job simple. But you have to remind them, like, you have to be nice, and they have to scan each one of those boxes. Tell them they have to scan that box, because that's part of your business. Explain to them, like, it's part of your business with eBay that they have to scan the box. Because if not, I'm gonna tell you what happens a lot, and it's a problem. They don't scan it, and then that item doesn't get scanned at the local location either. You'll have items that won't get scanned at the local location. So you know what it shows on eBay? It shows on eBay that you printed out this label, but yet they don't have a scan for it of where it's at. There's no tracking for it. Now, like I said, eBay doesn't know that they don't know who you are because you're more than likely a new account. They don't know that if you're not a degenerate. They don't know what you're up to. You hear why would eBay reward you with some sales to jump off with, right? Why would you think that eBay is going to reward you with $200, $300 sales, and they don't know who you are? And then like what? You're going to mess up their platform? You think eBay doesn't know who their good buyers are? They got a whole list of who their buyers are, of who the top art buyers are. They're not going to let you get any of those art buyers. They don't know who you are. You didn't prove yourself. And what's important is that as soon as the carrier, hear me out, what makes it so important that the carrier scans it from your location is that you're not responsible for anything that happens at that point. You did your job. You did your job. So what I was going to say is a lot of times, if they don't scan it, it'll go to the DC or it'll go to their distribution center and it won't get scanned, and then it could get lost. Or the buyer, they spent money with you and they don't have a real history of who you are because you don't even have a real history yet on yourself. Maybe you don't even have that many feedbacks yet, or you don't have that much of a sales history throughout the years, or you haven't even been with eBay that long. They're going to see that there's no history. Like, what's going on here? Where's the item at? And then what happens is a lot of times is that it shows up 5 days later, 6 days later in their city destination. So the first time that painting will get scanned is when it shows up at that city. And that's happened too many times. It happens all the time, especially if you're not on top of getting it scanned. So I don't care what you got to go through, but you got to make sure that gets scanned as a pickup. So that way you're able to earn your top rated badge. That's a big part of it. And I don't care what they say to you, even if they're difficult with you, even if you got to say to them, like, I'll just go to the I'll just go to the post office and talk to your supervisor then about it, because I need these scanned. Or they'll figure out something. Or what they'll do, like in my situation, or what they'll do for you, especially if they know that it's your business and you're an eBayer, they might just have they won't have the regular carrier. Like, they never do a regular carrier for me because I ship too much. So what they'll do is they'll have a special carrier who actually he's got like a larger truck. He's a pickup truck. Not a pickup truck like an F-150, but like it'll be like a van or something like that. But it's like for their pickup deliveries, not for the actual carrier where they're like dropping off mail or anything like that. And he'll come and he'll do it that way, and he'll scan it. But like I said, be nice to them. Ask them if they want a bottle of water, maybe some snacks or something like that. Be personable, and they have no problem. Us Corbellic elites are degenerates. That is true. That is true, Bella. That's true. I'm glad you caught that. I mean, besides us degenerates, that's different. We're a different type of degeneracy, all right? But we still have to ship on time, and we still have to make sure that we're the art degenerates, all right? That's different. We're the art world degenerates. We're the degenerates of the old art world. But so as soon as they scan it, when they pick it up from you, it's shown on the radar that it was picked up. And then the customer at least knows, oh, it was picked up from your location. It's not just shown as like, oh, it's in the system, or it's actually picked up. They scanned it, like, boom. So that way now the systems have to keep tracking it. Now there's no lost in limbo. Now there's no, even if it does get lost, which is rare, if it gets lost, You have nothing to do with that. It's all protected through eBay. It's all protected. I mean, you're basically insuring yourself as long as your carrier scans that box. You're protecting yourself. You're protecting yourself, but also what happens is you'll end up getting more sales. The system is so sophisticated that oh, Spoo says I just hit top rated seller yesterday. You hit it yesterday because yesterday was the 20th. The 20th is our evaluation day. So what happens, what was I saying? When it's out of your hair, you'll get more sales because the system is so sophisticated. Hear me out on this. It's important that you get it scanned as early as possible too, because the system is so sophisticated that as soon as they see that you're getting pickups daily, what they'll do, they'll start throwing you sales. You don't have to wait on it. They will throw you more sales. So a lot of times people don't even understand that either. They're like, man, I'm getting more sales now. You're getting more sales now because the system shows on the algorithm that it was scanned as a pickup. So as soon as you start doing that enough on the same day, you don't have to wait days on end. You'll probably get a sale that day. You'll probably get a sale the next day. Having the postal person scan your box equals to having a sale that day or the next day. And I'm talking about from your buy it now store. So that's why it's so important. But also, it's how you get top rated seller. So now that you're top rated seller in here, right, you're going to notice that your fees are cheaper. And normally we pay 13%. You could say that too. You could 717 best. You could say that you need the scanning because of tracking insurance. You could definitely say that as well. You could say whatever you need to say, but it's part of our business. So you could say that it's part of my business. I need it for tracking insurance because that's what I tell them as well. It's pretty much the same thing of what I'm saying is that you explain to them that if you don't scan it, there's so many times where it won't be scanned until days later until it arrives to the customer city location. And I can't have that happen because it affects my business. So you could tell them that as well. So when on a normal, normally we pay, if you're just a regular seller and it's above seller status, then we pay 13% of the fee for eBay. 13%. That's not bad, especially when it comes to galleries are 50%. So you pay 13%, right? But then when you're a top rated seller, now you pay 10%. So you shaved off 3%. Now you only pay, if you're a top rated seller, it pays to be a top rated seller because now you only pay 10%. But also now you're going to be more on the front page, higher up on the algorithm. Now you're going to be higher up on the algorithm to show that where your art is landing at. Your art is going to be landed on a higher page when you're top rated. But also when you're top rated, you're going to get a badge. You're going to get a badge on the side of your artwork, and it's going to say this seller, they've been doing all the right steps. They're a top rated seller. It shows trust for people when they see that you have that golden badge next to your artwork. And it's going to be on the side of each listing. It's going to show the golden badge, top rated seller. So people know with confidence to shop with you. They know that you ship it on time, you ship fast, you have good communication, that you have premium items, that you are trusted. That's the gold seal right there. And nowadays in 2026, to have a top rated badge is more difficult than it was years ago. So if you have that now in 2026 where it's top rated, then you're golden. But as long as you're part of the elite community, you'll get your top rated seller anyways, because I show you where every single day, and we stress about how important it is where we ship every single day. We clear the books out, and as long as you do that and you ship on time, then you're going to have your top rated seller. But there's a lot of people out there who's been selling for years and who's resellers, and they don't have a top rated badge. But at the same point, if you lose a top rated badge too, you can always earn it back. You can always earn it back if something happens and there's certain metrics that was messed up. Some of the metrics that can hurt top rated is that if you have a defect for like too many items that were sold, and maybe you sold it locally, or maybe that you didn't have it, so somebody bought something and then all of a sudden you had to cancel the order. If you have to do that, then there too many of those can have a defect on you. Or if something got lost. And yeah, so no, you're already, so listen, Spoo said this. He says, it says that to qualify for the top rated plus seller benefits, you need to have a 1-day handling time. And that is very true. So I'm glad you brought that up. You're still a top rated seller. So it still shows on the back end that you're a top rated, and it still shows on the metrics that you're top rated. But for you to get that badge, that gold badge, and for you to reap the benefits, now you do have to go in there on those listings and you have to change your handling time to 1-day handling time. Yeah, look at that right there. Isn't that beautiful? We just did that. That's a buffalo right there. Very colorful, very different. All right. Now, if you don't want to, you don't have to. I mean, I only suggested if you're able to deal with that volume and you know that you're going to be shipping within that 1-day handling time. You have to be prepared where you're ready to do the 1-day handling time of shipping. I mean, because now pretty much it's like you're a business. You can't slack off on that because it can creep up on you very quick. I've lost my top rated seller so many times, and I've gained it back so many different times. It's just one of those things that happen. I've lost it so many times because I've had a 1-day handling time, and then I wasn't on top of the 1-day handling time where I probably had like 50 boxes to go out, so many boxes. And this is before I had the my assistant. And this is also before I had a checklist or clear the books out. And I would just mess things up. It was before I had a system, and things could get away from you very quickly. That's why yesterday as well too, if you weren't here, you were here when we talked about the commission. Take care of the commissions first, because check this out. Say if you're a top rated seller and you're doing volume, you're doing things daily, you got to ship on the same day, but also you got a customer where you got a commission. If you don't do the commission in time, it could throw off your handling because you've got to do the shipping, but you also got to keep up with the volume of producing daily, because now you're a top rated seller. You get what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things. All right, let me throw paper on there. Did you get a chance to look at the buffalo, everybody? What y'all think of that buffalo? It's whatever. All right, let's go on to the next one. We're going to do a flower. Today I have to do the 90. I have to actually do the 90 minutes, an hour and a half, because I got I have an appointment. So it's just going to be an hour and a half stream. We're already at an hour. And I only did 4 canvases. All right. Let's hone in on this flower. So that's something that you want to aim for, to be a top rated seller. Also, a metrics on there is like, I mean, that's just the biggest metrics right there. As long as you follow those, then you'll be fine. You won't have to worry about anything else. You won't have to worry about being a degenerate. The name of the projector, it's in the list on the in the community. It's the here. It's the Panseba. Panseba. Get yourself the Panseba. I'm telling you. My old projector, I've used it for like most of my paintings, and it was just like night and day when I when I used the new one. It was like, wow, I can see again. It's kind of like putting contact lenses in. I'm blind as a bat, so I wear contacts. And it's like when you've been wearing glasses and you put your contact lenses in, it's like, oh, this is what colors look like. So I always aim for the top rated because then that's when you're really going to be booming with not with money. That's where your sales is going to come from. You want to aim for that because it's not just about being a top rated seller and it's like, okay, whatever. What does that mean? It means that you're going to have more people come to your store. It means that more sales. And as long as you're being consistent, it's like, it's kind of like being, you're going to have that extra confidence that the people who come to your store, you already have that selling point. You already have the selling point. Like you don't need to oversell yourself anymore with my artwork's great, my artwork's whatever. The other selling point that's heavy is that you're going to have that gold badge on there that's going to make people go, okay, there's going to be more bids coming in. There's going to be more people coming in because you're a top rated seller. Being a top rated seller is going to help you with your sales conversion to get more buyers. That's how I was able to sell so much and I was able to gain all of my collectors. I maintained myself to be a top rated seller. I mean, now I'm not consistent on eBay and in the game, so it doesn't matter to me now. I already have 3,000 collectors and followers on eBay, right? Who favored my store. But when you're in the game, that's the biggest part of the game is you better be a top rated seller. You better keep that thing clean. Keep everything clean on there. That's everything. There would be times where I would spend hours, weeks, months talking to eBay on the phone, figuring out certain defects that I had, getting them removed. That's why I have in the course there how to get defects removed. And I know how to go about it is because I've had so many situations where I had defects on my account and I know how to get them removed, not just the phone calls, but the way how I show inside the elite community. If you're not part of the elite community, click the link in the chat where it's pinned to the top, but it's also in the description. So that way you can do this for yourself. But that's why I show in there how you could do it with no problem without dealing with them over the phone. Because there's been so many times where I've been on the phone with them or I had to deal with them to get things removed because I understand how important it is for my business. And I would say to them, I need this removed so I could, that way my valuation date is coming up on the 20th. And when my valuation day hits, I need to get that top rated seller again. It's important for the business because then that's where the money comes. That's when people come to the store. If not, it's not just, but also here's the thing too, eBay will mess with you. So if you're not a top rated seller, yeah, they'll still throw you a bone and give you the sales, but they're not going to give you the sales like they're going to give a top rated seller. So eBay also, it's not just about the people coming to your store and seeing the top rated seller. It's also about the algorithm, because the algorithm, right? Remember, we're talking about it's not like humans or anything, it's the computer system. And they're like, this person's a top rated seller. So all of a sudden, what they're going to do, the system is going to funnel the buyers to you. They're like, all right, now we can give you the buyers that we know spend money. They know who, eBay knows who their buyers are that spend thousands of dollars, that spend hundreds of dollars in that category of what we are of original art. They know who they are. And they're not going to give it to you yet because you're a degenerate. Or they don't know you're a degenerate. Instead, they're going to give it to that top rated person. They're going to give it to Spoos there, or spouse, or Spoos, or Aleph. I got my projector today from AliExpress. I managed to connect it to the phone screen. That's awesome. Hey, what's going on, David? Hey, what's going on, Treasure Maze? Happy that you're here. Leave a like, leave a like. If you haven't already, also buy me a cup of coffee. Leave me a super chat in there. Let me know that you appreciate these gems that we're dropping today. We're having a really good stream, dropping a lot of knowledge in here for you guys. So be appreciative. Let Corbellic know you're not too much a degenerate. Aleph, yep. I know. They're gonna be like, I'm gonna give him all the sellers because he's top rated. He's put the work in. There's no question about it. He's put the work in. We don't have to, there's no debating it. You know, a lot of times in life, we get so caught up in life, us humans are so prideful. We get so caught up into, but I'm doing the work, I'm doing this. You know when you're doing it, and that's the thing too. eBay, you can't debate it with eBay knows if you're pulling up to do the work as well. They're like, okay, they're doing the work. I'm going to give him the sales. If you want the sales, then do the work. I would always say to like a younger generation, right? I would be like, you know, you could lie to your parents, or you could lie to me, or you could say whatever, but God is watching and God knows if you're doing the work or not. You could say, even lie to yourself and say, but I'm doing the work and I'm showing up and I'm doing this, that, the other, and this. Okay, you can do all that you want, but God knows that if you're actually showing up, like when you're alone and you think that you're being busy, but then the day's over with and maybe you only did, I've did 2 canvases, I've done 3 paintings, or I've done something, but you have all this time and you could have actually done more. You could have actually like got outside of your ego and produced the work. And then when the numbers don't hit for you, or the sales, or the rewards don't come the next week or whatever, you can't be like, well, but I was you then you start telling your friends and family and everybody else, or your coach, you'd be like, I was doing the work though. I was doing the work. We don't know. I mean, sure, okay. You can lie to everybody and you can say these things, but God knows, and God's going to reward you for actually doing the work. But also eBay knows too. I always think about stuff like that. Like, you can say whatever you want. You can tell me anything that you want. What do you want me to say? I'm not going to argue with you, but God knows and eBay knows. You want the results? God is watching you. I love you too. I'm gonna find that I know I have it. I know I have it. I'm gonna try to find it today. If not, then it's in Tampa. But I'm going to find it. I have it, and it's just crazy. And then when I find it, I'll mail it to you. But it was signed and everything. I know it like I don't want to talk about it. I'm the type of person too where I don't lose anything and I keep everything like organized. So I know I have it. Not much, just painting and being a degenerate. Maybe that'll be our new tagline, and that would be the cool thing that we can say for the community, right? Like we're just a bunch of degenerates. We're the art world degenerates. We're the art world degenerates selling on eBay. Oh my God, we're such losers. How dare us? We don't treat ourselves serious at all. My gosh. We should be ashamed of ourselves. Yeah, but that's something that always sticks out to me, especially like if you're talking to young men, or younger people, it's so easy. People are so quick to want to make excuses or tell stories. All right, your story's cool. Like, I don't, what do you want me to say? But God knows. God knows if you're showing up to actually do the work, you know. Some people will be like for example, some people who will be overweight, right? And they're like, they tell the doctor on one of them shows, but I'm doing the diet. They're trying to argue with the doc, like the diet, like the doctor's all of a sudden gonna make them lose weight and like calories. Like, what you telling me for? You can say whatever you want to me, but God knows at nighttime you're binging out and you're eating ice cream and you're eating cookies and cream. No one knows, right? You're at home and you're just like, God knows what you're doing when you're alone, if you're actually doing the work or not, because then it shows up in the results. And it's easier sometimes for us to be like so prideful and, but I'm doing the work. I swear I am. Uh-huh. What you telling me for? What do you want me to do? Yeah, I know. That's the funny part of the discerning light. The art world already describes people who are not trained as the outsider art. Yeah, they only say that because they don't want us to get the money. And the funny part is, it's like the game is so corrupted now where they're not even getting the money. We're making more money than they are, but they're so conditioned where they can't go backwards because they've already taken themselves too serious. So now they can't even. There's I know artists who want to go in my direction and do what we do, but they've already been ingrained in the game so long where they can't do it, they can't go backwards, and they're like kind of mad about it because they got pigeonholed into an art world situation where. So we're the degenerates of the art world. That's cool. David says life is too short to be serious all the time. Exactly. Exactly. Can't be serious all the time. I don't take any of it serious because life is too short. Like it could be over with tomorrow. And that's what I think about art. Like I'm glad that you brought that up, David, where it's like, I'm glad you brought that up because it's like that's how I look at art. It's like life is too short. So why are you being so serious about. I don't take any of this serious. It's a blessing for me every single day that I'm here with you right now, right? And that I get to paint. And remember what I was saying at the beginning of this live stream is like I don't have any real expectations for real. Like my base point it is what it is. Like my blessing is already here right now. My blessing is already that I'm alive and that I get to do this. I've already given myself permission to be successful in my mind. In my mind, I'm a multi-billionaire in my mind. I'm already wealthy in my mind about like you have to appreciate everything that is now. Then I don't take anything else serious. This is like whatever. Like you take it like sometimes it's so funny. Like I don't get it too much. I don't get too much of it now, but when I was like kind of starting my channel out, I used to get like people who didn't understand what we do, or I used to get certain types of haters. I never replied to it, of course, but it would be like people who just take things too serious. And I'm in my mind, I'm reading it and I'm thinking to myself, like, whoa, like you really take life too serious. Like these are personal issues. You need help. This has like whatever's going on with you has nothing to do with me. I don't know what you're talking about. You need to do art this way and it needs to be that way. Because if not, then you're just devaluing the whole system where it's whoa, hold on. You're projecting. Don't project whatever's I don't know what's going. I don't you don't know me. I don't know you. I don't what's going on here. This you're taking this things way too serious. I'm gonna pray for you. My favorite quote from Joker is why so serious? It's an honor to be, let's see here. 717 Best says it's an honor to be an outsider artist. Exactly. I mean, it's an honor for me to be an outsider, period, in life. Like when people when the majority when the majority of the crowd is going in one direction, the smartest thing that for you to do is go the opposite direction. I always consider that in life. When the crowd is going one way, they're always wrong. Go the opposite direction, and that's usually the right direction. That's been my thing my whole life. Now, when I do that, right, I've had friends from my past, right? They would say, "Oh, you're just a contrarian. You've always been a contrarian." Gatekeepers, yep. 717 says a self-taught artist chooses his teachers. That's a great advantage. Yep, exactly. All right, there's our flower right there. I'm not going to take that too serious. Exactly. I keep that in my mind all the time. I'm not going to keep these things too serious. I'll go on to the next one. Doesn't matter. Here, look at this is our painting right there. I'm not taking it too serious. That's our flowers right there. People love flowers. It'll go. They always go quick. Let's see here. Discerning Light says, "Yep, I feel the same about being an outsider. I play music the same way. That's how I do art. That's how I do everything. Because there's already there's the right way of everything or whatever the direction is that the majority is going. It's already overcrowded. It's already oversaturated. So I'm going to go the way that's not saturated and it looks different, even if it's spontaneous or whatever. It's just at least it's not crowded. So what we do is not crowded. If people want the polar bear hairs, then there's so much of that art out there. It's so crowded. There's so many polar bear hairs. Let's see. Same. Yep. Never follow the crowd. Great to hear about it. And art, lovely. Yeah. That's why I always say on here, the selling point of what I'm talking about is that this is never going to be an art class. I can't teach you how to be a creator because you're already a creator. The genius is already inside you. I believe that we're all geniuses. A lot of times throughout the years, collectors would collect my art. They send me a message and they go, "I wish I could create like you." And I would always stop them and be like, "You can't create like me." I would be like, "I can't create like you. Whatever's inside of you, you're already a genius. Don't try to be like me, because then competition or competing is that robs the joy, or is the joy, or what's the rob of joy? There's a quote something like that. Where what is it? Is competing or competition is the robs the joy, something like that. I'm pretty sure you'll write it in here, but um, I would say that we're all creators, so we'll never be an art school, never be an art class that you could do your own thing. That's what makes the beauty of it. But the hard part is that in society, we are so trained and conditioned to not be ourselves and not to be authentic, because then the majority, they're going to ostracize you for being the black sheep. But then only when you're the black sheep and you go in your own direction and then you become successful, then everybody's going to act like they were riding with you and that they supported you and they were with you. So they only cheer you on once you succeed. And you have to be okay with that. But also, I also say this in here. I'm also okay that if you're not okay with that, I'm also understanding that it takes a strong-minded person to do what we kind of do. I'm okay if you're not ready for that journey. I won't judge anybody. I never judge anybody because I understand it's not for everybody to do what we do. And you kind of have to have the special mindset. You kind of got to be crazy. You're a degenerate. You got to be a degenerate. All right. Who wants, I mean, come on, what normal sane person, what normal sane human wants to be ridiculed or have people say things about them? Normal people don't want that feeling. It's a horrible feeling. Who wants that besides us? Comparison is the thief of joy. Thank you. See, I have a smart community here. We know quotes, philosophy, the things that I'll miss out on. You always pick it up for me. Let's see. Comparing yourself to others kills the joy is so true. Never wanted to belong to the gatekeeper world. That's so true. Outlaw Sunshine said that. 100% degenerate. That's what we are. There was only you and your own one of a kind. Exactly. Tulio says that will be my new eBay store motto. There are only too many polar bears. Are you going to put up? Are you going to put up that painting with the swimmer, the night swimmer? Are you going to put that up for sale? If you are, I'd buy it. If you were here on the live stream the other day, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before when we were talking about and discussing about you can't see at night or like being in your own trajectory where you're actually going, but you can't see your success because there was an old analogy of swimming at nighttime or an old swimmer swimming the channel at nighttime, but he couldn't see where the land was, the target, the goal. So he didn't know if he was actually meeting the goal, or I don't know if you were there for the story. But the cool thing is that in the community, Tulio, who shared the story, he actually wrote down the whole story, which was great. And he made a painting of it yesterday. So it was so awesome because there was different colors of blue hue in there. And it's just a great painting. It was something like where, I would like to either put something like that in the studio to remind us all. And it's just a great analogy. Such a good example. Let's see here. Nico says, such a good example. Your grateful attitude about life, to be alive and pain. Exactly. Everything else after that is just the icing on the cake. And that's how you get your blessings. You're going to get your blessings by already accepting that you're grateful for everything. You have to be just grateful for the opportunity to paint. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to talk to you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have a community. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have a studio. All the little things, because there's people who don't even have this opportunity where they can have a business. Then, as long as that's my baseline, right? That's my baseline of success. That's my $1 billion. Anything after that is going to be the icing on the cake. But what happens naturally is what I was trying to explain. And I don't know if I articulated it right, Tulio, is that once that's the baseline of being grateful for everything, even whatever, if it's sell whatever, is that that's the frequency of me doing that. That's how you get the $1 million. That's how the good stuff does happen. Is once that you're grateful for, even if this sells for 99 cents, or even if it sells for whatever, I'm already grateful and I've accepted it because I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for it all. Nerfy says, I'm behind on the stream. No problem. You can always catch back up, go watch the replay. That was the mastery meeting. Yeah, great analogy. It was perfect analogy. I love it. Tulio says, I haven't put it up for sale yet. I will put it up for auction if you want. There is a good chance you might get it for 99 cents. Then I'm gonna definitely bid on it. Put it up. I'll bid on it. Well, maybe not. Maybe it sells more than that. Remember what you said. Expect for the best. Don't be too hard on yourself. Have fun. Keep telling myself. Exactly. Life is too short. And I always say, one of the things I always say too that you guys laugh at was when I say I don't know what I'm doing. That's just another version of saying like, don't take it too serious. Life is too short. Who cares? I don't know what I'm doing. And then another thing that I'll say at times too is I'll say, I don't know what I'm doing. You guys know what you're doing. When I say that you guys know what you're doing, not particularly you, but I'm saying more for other people who like may take themselves serious and then their whole identity is taking themselves serious that they know what they're doing. They're the professionals. They're the polar bear hares of the art world, and they know how to do the fine strokes of 1,000,000,000 strokes of the polar bear, and they know what they're doing. That's cool. You know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'd rather be that way where I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not taking myself that serious. How fun is that? It's not even fun. Once you start doing stuff like that, then I don't want to show up to the studio. I'm just lying. I'm lying to everybody that I want to show up to the studio. I'm lying to myself. I'm lying to everybody that I enjoy being an artist. No, you don't. You're not even having fun because you don't you can't enjoy it if you don't if you can't say to yourself that you don't care. You care too much. How can that be enjoyable? This doesn't define us. This doesn't define me. All right, after this one, I gotta have this be my last painting because I got a meeting to get to. But I'll be in the community if you need me. David says no one can enjoy 100 hours of polar bear. Oh man. That's what I'm saying, right? But like these people lie to themselves. They'll tell everybody else that they enjoy it though, just so they could pretend that they could be some really great artist that they spent 100 hours of polar bear hairs. They'll tell everybody else that I enjoy it. I enjoy going to the studio with a magnifying glass and doing this all alone for 100 hours. Like that sounds like you might as well go to prison. That's a prison sentence. The hell you doing? You're not creating art. But then again, I can't say that either, right? Because we're not being judgmental. Oh, you're not creating art. That's just like someone who, like, I always refer back to that the banana duct taped on the wall. Just because that person figured out how to make $5 million, $15 million, what normal person in their mind is going to say that they don't want that they wish they didn't create that idea? That's the whole purpose of that idea. That what makes it so enticing, right? Is that we all in the back of our mind wish that we created something so simple that we didn't have to spend 100 hours on the polar bear hairs and that we could just duct tape a banana on the wall, and we all wish that we could have made the 5, 10, $15 million on it. We all do. You come on, like stop lying to yourself. Or would you say to yourself, no, that's not art. I'd rather do 100 hours of the polar bear hairs for free. That's what some people do. That's what the art world does. And that's the thing that kills me about the art world. They lie they lie and say they rather do the polar bear hairs for free instead of making the $10 million. Like, man, just I can't listen to anything else you're telling me then at that point. You're lying. Yeah, some Shawshank stuff right there. Like, come on, like just stop lying. Yeah, I don't need the money. The money is stupid. It's all about the art and spending time with the polar bear hairs. That's art. You're not a real artist. You got a banana on the wall. I went to art school to know how to do the hair. You didn't go to art school because you just went to a hardware store into the grocery store to duct tape the banana. Aloe Sunshine says, my sister-in-law is a polar bear hair artist 2 years out of art school, and I've already surpassed her as a self-taught degenerate. Exactly. That's how it always is too. And the thing that's funny is I know so many artists who actually went to art school, and they don't do well when it comes to the business side of actually selling art. They end up doing other things because they're not really taught how to sell art. And when they do, they're only taught like from it in the mindset of what the teacher thinks that is how it works in the real world, but it doesn't equate to that way at all in business. They say things like, they say stuff, this is what they tell them. Well, you're going to show your portfolio, you're going to build it up for 2 years, and then you're going to put it up on eBay, or I mean, you're going to put it up on Instagram. And then when you build it up on Instagram, you need to send DMs out to galleries and tell them to look at your portfolio. And then after that, you're going to build up an email list off of those galleries. And then you're going to send them out with a newsletter and tell them what new artwork that you have and hope on the whims that they're going to just crazy right there. And then a lot of times you got to pay for your own, like you like by that time how they never tell you how are you supposed to get this money. What are you supposed to get, a grant or what is that what you're supposed to do? Like, how are these artists supposed to get the money to support themselves to actually even do that and get to that point? So outdated. Like all the artists who I know that went to art school and did all of that stuff, like I've been sold way more art than them. I made way more money than them. But even though they know that, and I could tell them that, they would never still do it. They would never do what I'm doing because they've been conditioned so hard to not. They it's like it's blasphemy for them. Like they feel like they're going to go to hell. They can't do it. But also too, what I've come to realize, a lot of those people, those are the type of people who are all about academics. So their whole life they were trained as a robot. Remember this from the book. Remember that from the book. Remember, there's an analogy that I always said too, or saying, there's some of these people who have to actually read a book to know that the sky is blue. It's like they can't just go outside and intuitively feel inside their soul and their spirit. They can't just know that they're a genius and they're a creator. They actually have to read in a book and go through academics to know that the sky is blue. So a lot of times when people go to art schools, they're really more robot academic people who got 4.0s and good grades and stuff like that their whole life. And then when they go to art school, they're like, do this, do that, A, B, C, D. They're so robotic. And then they think that's the creative part because they're doing everything technical with the robots instead of you being in your soul and you're just creating, you're going fast and you're making something different compared to them. They're doing the safe lane of making, oh, it's pretty, isn't it? Isn't the polar bears pretty? I'm one of those artists and taught at a prestigious art school. That's what Jim just said. I'm one of those artists and I taught at a prestigious art school. That's too funny, Jim. Well, I'm making fun of you then, brother. I'm making fun of you. I blame you. Let's blame Jim. Jim's the one who's conditioning these people. I knew it. Let's see here. David says, art school was like going to a culinary school to be a chef, then go work at Applebee's. Or okay, or better yet, okay, check this out. Um, or another analogy for that is like it's like going to culinary school, right? To learn to be a chef, you graduate with 4.0 with honors or whatever, right? On cooking. And then you go to a restaurant and every kitchen has to tell you what their recipe is. So you have to follow A, B, C, D. Like you're not going to the culinary, you're not going to the restaurant that you get hired by, and then the owners or the top chef at that time, you get to create your own recipes and go off the whim and be intuitive. No, they're going to be like, we like our mozzarella sticks fried like this. This is how you're going to do our bolognese sauce. This is how we do our Alfredo. Like they're going to show you how the restaurant is known, what the restaurant is known for, their recipe or whatever. Yeah, let's blame it on Jim. He says, "But I'm here because of you, brother." No, you're doing an amazing job, man. You're doing an amazing job because you're doing the work. You show up, you know. You can't work is work. You can't fake and pretend work. That's just one of those things I had to. I mean, I say that because I'm making fun of myself too when I was talking about that earlier. Because there was times, so many times in my life where it's like I'm talking to God, but God, I'm doing the work. Where's my cells at, God? What's happening? What's going on? And God's like, I see you though. Like, are you really doing the work, or are you just, or is your ego, does it feel good by telling me you're doing the work? Because I could tell my girlfriend one thing, I could tell my mom one thing, I could tell my family one thing, I could be like, I'm really busting my butt and I'm working. And it sounds good to say these things, but it's like, God knows if your work works. Work is the only thing that works. It's not about talent, because we're all talented. You know me, I like to just say I'm not talented. Of course we're all talented, but I didn't go to traditional art school in this sense, right? I didn't have Jim as my teacher. And but at the same point, it's like what works for me is work. Just like I always say, I feel like I'm thankful for everything, but I've never been where a person where I was like, I got the best luck. Because some people, you feel like they have better luck, but really it's just work. Work works. Preparation meets opportunity. The harder that I work, the more luckier that I am because I'm showing up. I don't have to be the most talented. I don't have to be the most gifted. I don't have to be all of that, whatever. I just work. Work works. And God knows if you're working or if you're not working. And you can't fake the results of work because they show. And it's not like, oh, well, that person's lucky. Oh, well, it's just different. Whatever somebody else is accomplishing and doing, you have to know that you're also capable of doing the same thing. If someone else can do it, then you can do it. That's why I always say that. Look, if I can do it, you can do it too. Let's see here. Jim is a reformed polar bear artist. He joined us to generate. Jaden Hunter says, I'm a chef as well. I used to experiment so much in the kitchen. It was food art. That's amazing. I love to cook. Let's see here. I finally introduced myself to the elite community just then. Amazing. About time. Art school is like going to culinary school to be okay. Let's already read that. I got back in time to watch some more and learn about your polar bear hairs. It's so funny. Jim says true! Exclamation mark. Which part is true? What part are we talking about? All of it's true. That's what part. All of it's true. I just want to hear. I just want to hear it come from you. All of it's true. That's what's true. I mean, these are things. That's why I like having these live streams, because I mean, we have a really great community and we have a lot of the great courseworks there that everything is mapped out for you. But a big part of what we do and about what I do is a mindset. And the more that you're part of these live streams, and the more that we can paint together, and the more that we can have these conversations, the more that you understand the mindset of what it is to be successful, because that's what it's all about. And I make fun because I'm making fun of myself, because I've been there. I've been there more than any of you guys can ever be there. I'm making fun of myself, my previous self, and even my current self in some situations where it's like I can say whatever I want to say. It's like a child. You ever have your son or your daughter like try to explain something to you? Oh, it's not my fault. The teacher said this. The teacher did that, or something happened, or whatever. And it's like you just look at them like, you could tell me whatever you want because I wasn't there, but and God knows. And that's all it is in life. And God will be the biggest teacher for you. Mommy and daddy can only be there for so long. Your coach can only be there for so long or whatever, right? But God knows and you know if you're doing the work. Anything past that is up to you. And you need to have an honest conversation with God and also with yourself in the mirror about these things. Let's see here. Jada Hunter says you also don't have the same attachments with food, and then food, art. Then what do you do with other art? As you know, that food is always going to be destroyed and eaten. So true. Well, same thing with art. We destroy it. We paint it. We let it go. It's destroyed. Jim says, blame me, show up, do the work, make it happen. I'm out of canvas, so I found an old ugly painting I had on the back of a toilet door. So I did a polar bear over it while you did the buffalo. That's so funny. Addicted to painting. Paint on anything. I used to do that as well when I was like when I started painting, I would paint on anything. I would paint on wood panels. If I found a wood panel that was on the street, I would pick it up. I would like pick it up and put it in the car, take it home and just start painting on it. Because back then also I had this whole idea that I was going to do like with Basquiat. I was going to take these wood panels, these big wood pieces that I saw, and I was going to put it in my gallery shows, which I did. But then in my mind as well, I was like, but when I do this gallery show, everybody's going to come out and they're going to buy this wood door panel for $1 million. And then nobody buys it. They like it though. They give it free likes. That's cool. I think few of those I give them out to friends and stuff like that. All right, this is the last painting. So that was a fun stream. Got to get some laughs in there, and we got some new some jargons to say, some new taglines, things that we're gonna say. We're the degenerates and the polar bears. What's funny, I'm gonna do a reaction video. I hope I saved that video. Maybe I didn't. I'm gonna try to find it. And I'm gonna do a reaction video to it. It's gonna be funny. Like, you spend $100,000 on your education to do that. Yeah, big paintings take up a lot of real estate. Let's see here. Jaded Hunter says, one thing to always remember is that it doesn't matter what you say to others. You can never control what they think and how they react. So true. There's the truth, and then there's the universal truth, and then there's your truth. Can't please everybody, and you can't make people show up to work. I remember Jim was doing a concert on New Year's Eve, and I sent him a message, and I was like, if some people download Duolingo to learn French, some people feel good in just that action. That's a dopamine for them that they downloaded Duolingo. And then some people actually spend the time, only they know, and God knows if you actually downloaded the link and then you worked on it, of the Duolingo, to actually practice French. And then it starts working for you because you've been doing the work of practicing French. But other people who don't, it's like you can't go back to the owner of Duolingo, right? And be like, hey, your app don't work. I already created the app. I already did the work. I already created the app, and I know how to speak French. Look at this painting. Isn't that beautiful? That's beautiful flowers. So it's like you can never come back. Only God knows if you're actually doing the app yourself, or did you give yourself a dopamine feeling good by just downloading the app? All right, let's see what we have here in the comments. Big comment, big paintings take up a lot of real estate. They sure do. That's another reason why I had to get rid of them too. Or I just had too many, I had too much. My walls was like a museum. Just a degenerate painting. Don't give a hoot. Nice. All right. So that's the end of the stream right here. I got to get out of here because I got to do a meeting right now, and I'm kind of late, so I got to get things ready with my notes. But I appreciate everybody that was here. If you haven't already, leave some likes that's in this video. Let YouTube know that we're doing a good thing. If you can also buy me a cup of coffee, buy me a super chat on here, I greatly appreciate that. Look, I love you guys. I'm gonna check you out tomorrow. All right.